So what happens later this year if there's no diesel engine oil? What happens? Just think about where diesel engines operate. So we already mentioned trucking and transportation for groceries. What about everything that you find on the shelves at Walmart? What about everything at Home Depot or Best Buy or Costco? You will have no inventory anywhere. There will be nothing on the shelves. And at the same time, there will be no agriculture. Food will be rotting in the fields while people starve in the cities because tractors run on diesel. Transportation trucks from the farms run on diesel. If you don't have diesel, you can't farm. End of story. There will be no construction equipment operating because all the construction equipment runs on diesel. And of course, it all requires diesel engine oil, whether we're talking about skid steers, backhoes, excavators, track loaders, dump trucks, road blades. I mean, everything that you can think of uses diesel. And so that means that there will be no road repair, which means the entire highway infrastructure, the bridge infrastructure, the roadways all across America will collapse because there will be no maintenance possible. And by the way, much of America's infrastructure is collapsing even when there is maintenance. You know, bridges are falling down in America. Over the last several years, there are many examples of that, and it's only going to get worse. And if you thought the supply chain was bad up to today, wait until there are no trucks and no trains operating anywhere in America. And if you think you can just order online on Amazon.com and get prime shipping, well, understand, Amazon will not be operating because Amazon uses diesel trucks to distribute the pallets of the goods that they stock in their warehouses all across America that then come to you on other diesel trucks. UPS uses diesel trucks. FedEx uses diesel trucks. The United States Postal Service, USPS, uses diesel trucks. All fire trucks run on diesel. Nearly all ambulances run on diesel. So if you dial 911 because you have a fire, the answer is going to be, sorry, do you have a garden hose? I mean, try to put it out yourself because we don't have any diesel fire trucks anymore. There's no oil. Ambulances, many law enforcement vehicles run on diesel too. Not all of them, but many do. So what we're really looking at across America is if this scenario comes true, as it currently looks like it will, unless something changes, unless there's a magical new supply of diesel engine oil, then sometime in the second half of this year, 2022, there will be virtually no deliveries or transportation of anything. No supply chain, no food, no lumber, no consumer goods, no packages, no replacement parts, nothing. And this will bankrupt virtually every business in the country because everybody relies on transportation for something. We haven't even talked about ships and barges on the rivers. You know, a lot of boats and ships run on diesel. The big transport ships, they run on dirty diesel. And aircraft run on, aviation fuel, very similar to kerosene. But they only have a limited supply of planes and space on the planes. And even if you could get goods transported by plane, you have to have a truck pick it up from the plane and then take it to the grocery store. And that's a diesel truck. Without diesel, you don't have any transportation infrastructure. Without diesel, you don't have farming infrastructure. Without diesel, you don't have construction. And I guess the greenies will finally get their wish. They will get the end of fossil fuel nightmare that they've always wanted, which is the total collapse of human civilization and the mass die-off that they seem to be begging for. And yet, astonishingly, it's these same green people who are the least likely to be prepared. So they will be the ones starving first. Now, as this supply chain collapse takes place, I may not need to tell you this, but there will be total chaos in every city across America and around the world, kind of like what Sri Lanka is looking like right now, but far worse in America, where there's no respect for law enforcement in these Democrat cities. The police, they don't even in Uvalde, they didn't do anything to help the kids. They just stood around and did nothing. You think cops are going to come save you when society's collapsing and there's 25,000 gangbangers going through the neighborhoods, stealing, raping, pillaging, murdering? No, the police won't be there for you. You're going to be on your own. There will be no food. There will be no rule of law. There will be no medical supplies. There will be no prescriptions. I was talking to a physician. In fact, I had him on as a guest a couple of weeks ago. And he was telling me that IV tubing is out of supply already in the ERs and urgent care facilities where he's located. They can't get dextrose bags. They can't get saline solution bags. They can't get emergency medical supplies. And that's just because of a manufacturing shortage of medical plastics. That doesn't even consider what happens when you lose diesel engines in the entire transportation infrastructure. We're talking about a total collapse of food, of medical gear, of emergency supplies, a total collapse of consumer goods. Walmart will be bankrupt, out of business. Grocery stores will shut down. All retailers will shut down in this scenario. Again, unless something changes, this is what's going to happen. And if you think that Joe Biden can order some emergency airlift like he did with baby formula to go pick up 100,000 pounds or a couple 100,000 of baby food from some other country and airlift it into the United States using military cargo planes, and that still didn't even make a dent in the whole thing. That was just a public relations ploy right there, just theater. If you think Joe Biden can magically make diesel engine oil appear out of nowhere, then you're living in a dream world, because it's not going to happen. You can't make molecules out of nothing. This isn't petroleum transgenderism where you can just believe that you have engine oil now, where you can just pretend to be something that you're not. You can't make molecules out of nothing. You got to have a supply chain, and the supply chain is being demolished by Joe Biden and his puppet masters who are controlling him. This is a global takedown of the infrastructure that keeps humanity alive, that keeps you fed. And of course, how are you going to have electricity, by the way? Because the coal comes to your local coal-fired power plant using a diesel electric train that has a diesel engine that needs diesel engine oil to operate. No engine oil, no train, no coal, no power. So you're going to be sitting in the dark, starving or freezing, wondering what happened to society. And I'm telling you right now, in advance, this is where it's going unless something changes this dramatically. Now, I've seen this coming for a long time. I've got 6 free audiobooks that you can download. They're all free. You can download the MP3 files. One of them, the most recent one, is called Resilient Prepping. You can download that right now at resilientprepping.com, and that teaches you how to survive the total collapse of society, how to live without electricity, how to live without combustion engines. In fact, that's the key theme of that entire book, how to live without technology and still survive. You owe it to yourself to download that and listen to it and follow the preparedness steps there, because society is going to collapse. And probably more than 200 million Americans will die. And around the world, we will see several billion deaths. And we're being attacked on every front. We're being attacked with biological weapons. We're being attacked with economic collapse, currency debasement, inflation, food scarcity, controlled demolition of the energy infrastructure. We're being attacked culturally. We're being attacked through censorship, false flag operations, gun control, rigged elections, totalitarian regimes ruling over the world and trying to achieve global depopulation and mass human extermination. We are living through a Holocaust on a planetary scale, and we're already in it. And this isn't theory. This is happening now. And yet 99% of the population will remain oblivious. And most of those people will die because they will have no food, no preparedness, no fuel, no backup plans, no ability to function in a society unless everything works. And yet we're heading into a society where nothing works. Only the informed and adaptive human beings among us will survive. And if you're listening to this, it's probably you. You'll probably make it. But people that you know will die. People that I know will die. We will lose people that we love, even as we make it through this engineered collapse of human civilization. I dedicate over an hour every day to teaching you how to survive, to teaching you what's happening, analyzing that information, and then giving you solutions. You can follow me in my daily podcast. It's called the Situation Update. It's available on Brighteon.com, which is a platform that my company built. We spent millions of dollars to build that platform so we could speak freely without censorship. You go there each day onto my channel, HR Report or Health Ranger Report. You'll find interviews, special reports like this one, a daily podcast, and also how-to videos. I have another website called prepwithmike.com that organizes all the how-to videos with firearms and red dot sights and how to build emergency water filters and how to make emergency fire starters and all about edged weapons and knives and blades and survival and prepping and how to tie knots and all kinds of stuff. All these survival skills. You'll find that at prepwithmike.com. My point is that through the free downloadable audiobooks that I have available for you, including, by the way, survivalnutrition.com. If you're into nutrition and you want to live, that's another great audiobook. But we've got all these free resources for you on Brighteon.com and naturalnews.com. And everybody can make it through this if they get informed and get prepared. And yet most people will not be prepared. Most people will not make it. We will likely lose over half the US population over the next several years. Before 2030, the US population may be under 100 million. You understand what that means, right? That means we lose over 200 million. This is a global extermination effort, and this whole issue of diesel engine oil, this is just one of many mechanisms that globalists are using to attack the vulnerabilities of our highly complex society that is incredibly vulnerable to systemic failure. And it's all by design, and they are taking it down. And by the way, they're going to pull the plug on the dollar sometime during all of this to destroy all savings that are held in dollars. So if you don't have your wealth outside the fiat currency, you will lose everything financially. You may not care because you might be dead from starvation first if you don't stockpile food, but you see my point. You have to be prepared in all of these different areas. You've got to protect your assets. You've got to be able to have food and grow food. If you want to learn how to grow food, go to icangrowfood.com. That's Marjorie Wildcraft's website, free webinar video there that teaches you how to grow food in a small amount of space and how to grow it when it counts, how to keep yourself alive on the food that you grow. If you want to get out of the dollar system, we have a precious metals sponsor on Brighteon. They're known as the Treasure Island Precious Metals and Coins Company, and you can find them at brighteonmetals.com. brighteonmetals.com. Gold and silver in your hands. It will survive the collapse of the dollar because it has survived the collapse of every other currency and civilization for thousands of years throughout all of human history that we know of. Gold and silver have remained assets of value while everything else has failed. And Western civilization as it exists today will fail. It will collapse. Western Europe will be no more. The United States of America, my prediction is it will not exist as we know it by the end of 2025. It will collapse and fail. Understand that we live in a complex society that has only been able to feed the current population of the world, nearly 8 billion people, because of very affordable energy, because of cheap fuel, cheap diesel, relatively cheap diesel engine oil, tractors, and the mechanization of agriculture, and the availability of nitrogen-based fertilizers created through the Haber chemical process by using natural gas as the feedstock input. So natural gas has created cheap fertilizer that, combined with cheap diesel fuel, has created affordable food that has led to the population explosion that currently supports almost 8 billion people on planet Earth. And all of that is coming to an end. All of that. You're seeing the beginning stages of it right now with the economic shutdowns, bans on food exports, bans on fertilizer from Russia, and the coming collapse of the dollar and other fiat currencies. The yen will collapse, the euro will collapse. The entire European Union will cease to exist within just a few years, and the United States of America will cease to exist as it currently is structured, by the way. So all of this is coming down. The world's population will be drastically reduced between now and the year 2025, and even more so by 2030. The goal of the globalists is to kill about 7 billion people, and they've figured out how to do it. Engineered food scarcity and sabotage of food industry facilities, of course, and the engineered takedown of the energy infrastructure, which is what we're talking about today. They're going to kill billions of people. This is 1,000 times bigger than the Holocaust of World War II. And if you are still siding with the greenies and the climate change lunatics, you are on the side of the death cult that is trying to destroy humanity. You need to wake the F up, and you need to join reality and realize that without diesel And without affordable transportation and affordable oil and natural gas and pipelines, then most of the world starves to death. And that will probably be you if you don't wake up in time and realize what's happening and learn how to grow some food. Literally 4 to 5 billion people on planet Earth today will starve without nitrogen-based fertilizers. And you can find that statistic probably in the UN website or the WHO or somewhere. That's not hyperbole, that's the truth. And without combustion engines, you will lose another 2 billion people. You will lose 75% of the current population if you lose nitrogen fertilizers and combustion engines. And then if you lose the power grid on top of that because you can't transport coal, you will lose about 90% of the world population, which is exactly what the globalists want. That's how they're going to do it. The process has already begun. This is not designed to scare you, it's designed to prepare you, because only those who are prepared will survive what's coming. And yes, I am planning on even my own business being completely out of business because we will have no transportation. The Health Ranger store. I mean, if you want to prepare now, healthrangerstore.com. We have freeze-dried, certified, organic, lab-tested fruits, foods in number 10 cans, in Ranger buckets. We've got nutrition, we've got personal care products, all of it, hundreds of products. We anticipate having no operations by the end of this year, unless, of course, some big solution comes along and solves this problem and suddenly we have engine oil again. Without engine oil, we are shut down too, folks. All of us. But Walmart will be shut down. Your grocery store will be shut down. Amazon will be shut down. There will be no economic activity happening except maybe barter at the local level. And then you're going to wish you had some junk silver coins or some 1 ounce, US mint rounds, or you're going to wish you had some spare 22 long rifle ammo to use as barter, or maybe some garden seeds, because money will not work, because banks will not function. ATMs will not function. Fiat currency will collapse. So I don't know any other way to say it, folks. Get prepared or die. It really is that simple. And millions of Americans are going to die in the next couple of years who live in the cities and who have mocked preppers and who themselves have zero preparedness. They're going to die from starvation or violence or exposure or just being sickened because the toilets don't flush anymore and they're living in city cesspools of human filth and feces. They're going to die from all kinds of horrible things because they refuse to listen. They refuse to prepare. Don't be one of those people. Get prepared, and we can make it through this together. And while you're at it, by the way, read the book of Revelation. Read your Bible, because there's a lot of wisdom to be found there. Wisdom about what's coming right now. The 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. It seems like they're all here. Thank you for listening. I'm Mike Adams, the Health Ranger, the founder of Brighteon.com, the publisher of naturalnews.com. I've been prepping for over 25 years now, and I don't feel like I'm prepared enough for what's about to happen. That should give you a sense of how serious this is. But thank you for listening. God bless you. Take care.